everyone. You're welcome to your favorite talk show, Breaking Barriers. And what do we do here? We showcase the lives of people who are doing excellently across different walks of life. And we try to get into their stories to know what it is that makes them tick. But one of the things we also try to do is to understand what challenges they've overcome to be where they are, because we know that life is not necessarily a smooth sail end to end. I'm very happy to introduce our guest for today. She's a wonderful lady who's done a lot for herself. Her name is Shola Oluwole. You're most welcome.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
Happy to have you here. Shola has played different roles. My understanding is that you came to Canada within the last decade, and very recently you held the role of regional manager at RBC. Walk us through your interest at BDC. Walk us through your beautiful story.
Thank you. Like you mentioned, I'm an immigrant. I came to Canada but like 8 years ago from the Middle East. My journey has
from the Middle East. Oh, okay. So yours was not a direct flight.
No, it wasn't. And before the Middle East, I was in the UK. So it's been quite a journey.
And home is, when you say Middle East, so your home is originally Nigeria.
My home is originally Nigeria. Okay. And each time I've had to move, I've almost had to jumpstart the career, the system, everything again. Because moving from your familiar territory to a new country is always challenging. But I think it's been a great ride, fun ride being in Canada. Like you mentioned, my immediate past role was regional manager for inclusive entrepreneurship at BDC, where I got the opportunity to really work with people from the Black community, with women entrepreneurs, indigenous entrepreneurs, to break down the barriers that have existed, to run their businesses. It was a very fulfilling role for me. It was beyond a job. It was almost like a mission, a calling, so to speak, right? And now I've transitioned into entrepreneurship full-time, continuing to help business owners, helping them to get fund ready, helping them to know how to scale their businesses, avoid the pitfalls that I saw every day while I was at BDC.
I imagine that many people are hearing for the first time that you're no more with BDC. I also found out accidentally, when we had a talk recently. But that must have been a big opportunity for you. Can you help us understand the impact in terms of how many people were able to reach? Because you said inclusive
entrepreneurship.
So it wasn't necessarily Black community.
It wasn't just, Okay. It was all encompassing. So it was, we had to focus on 3 communities that have been underserved, historically. So the Black community, women entrepreneurs, and then indigenous entrepreneurs.
Okay.
So that's what it encompassed.
And was that role for the province of Ontario, or how does it?
So my role, was specifically for the entirety of Ontario.
Okay.
So I had counterparts in different provinces, but my focus was Ontario, because Ontario is very multicultural. We have a high population of Black and women entrepreneurs. There's a lot of enterprise going on. As much as that happens, you still find people struggling to access financing. Access the networks that they need to help them, to bring them up. The know-how, the knowledge that they need to be able to run their businesses successfully. So that was where I came in.
So it's interesting that you say that, because more recently there's been a lot of money pumped into supporting or jumpstarting Black-owned businesses.
Correct.
Given your own advantage, unique position and privilege, what would you say are the immediate barriers we still need to address in order to make that achieve the intended objective? Or would you say you're satisfied with what you've seen?
Oh, no.
Yes.
I think you're talking about the Black entrepreneurship program.
Yes. There are different avenues where the Black community is able to. There's Black Opportunity Fund, I think that's it, Black Opportunity Fund. There's Black Entrepreneurship Program. There are different organizations. There's FACE or something.
So all these are captured under the Black
Entrepreneurship Program. Okay.
Because the government, released some funds and channeled it through these
different
various community organizations to. I think it was the right step. the right first step in the right direction, because there's a lot, it's convoluted, but this was a good first step in the right direction, and it was also an acknowledgement of the undercapitalization that has existed in the Black community, right? So I feel like it was an intentional action that was taken by the government to try to remedy this undercapitalization. So while these funds are out there, while there was a lot of cohorts and training and all that, what I saw and what I still continue to see is that people still lack the knowledge. Like people go through all those programs and cohorts, but they do not have the practical knowledge. They start asking them questions about their business, around their business plan, around their plan to scale. How do you intend to access funding? Things like that are still a little bit missing, right? Number one is funding readiness. The documents, the preparedness, the things you need to put in place in your business to ensure that when you approach a bank or you approach, any organization, they'll be comfortable enough to extend funding to you. So I still see that that's a little bit lacking.
There's also credit history as well.
Of course. The credit history is always a challenge. I think what happens with the credit history is that a lot of Black entrepreneurs bootstrap their businesses. They spend their own personal funds.
You're speaking about my experience. So yes,
exactly. For their businesses, which then affects their personal credit, so that when they then decide to go to the bank, the credit is not up to par, the credit score is not up to par. So it's almost like a vicious cycle, right? So I think that's one problem that still exists. I think our people are beginning to understand that, let's go to the banks early, let's go get the grant early instead of just bootstrapping, but there's still a long way to go in that area. Another thing that I see is that even when they get the funding, post-funding, there isn't, there's still a need, I would say, for support and mentoring as to how to use that money effectively in the business, right? Because if you get a loan, as an example, you will have to pay back. It's not free money, right? So you need to be strategic as to how you apply the funds in your business such that it actually yields the revenue and profitability that would allow you to be able to repay the loan. Some people are beginning to default on these loans that have been granted, which is not great, right? So I see that that funding readiness, that credit readiness, and also post-funding management.
Management oversight. It's sort of asking for them to operate like venture capitalists, whereby venture capitalists, some don't just do that money. They actually ensure that they put specific people to provide management oversight. So that way you can be sure that your money will come back. Otherwise, it will just not.
Actually, there are some organizations that are beginning to do that. If I may mention BCC, before I left, there was actually a cohort that was put in place for Black entrepreneurs, indigenous entrepreneurs. When they give them that loan, they put them in this cohort for a period of like 12 weeks, where they try to show them how to run their businesses. It's unfortunate that a lot of people start, but not many people follow through. You could have.
Maybe what they should do is to peg the disbursement of the funds to milestones, having attained X number of classes or something. I'm just thinking.
I mean, that it sounds reasonable, but I feel like it's going to be another barrier. It might be another hurdle for them to cross to be able to access the fund for their business. But I think, there's something there. There's something to be explored there.
That's fantastic. So, having been part of that, you decided to jump into the water as well.
Exactly. That's amazing. Part of the solution. I've been on the other side, seeing what funders require. Now I really want to be in the trenches with the business owners to help them to be ready to the point of going to the funders.
So some preparation towards getting the...
Yes, exactly.
You know what that makes us? That makes us competitors. But I don't because I'm a business consultant, right? And I pride myself in being able to help businesses looking to start up or scale up. But the more the merrier. The more the merrier. And it's also good to have people who are credible. Your experience obviously gives you the edge, and it would be nice to see how you can help. What's the name of the organization? Is it new, or are you started from scratch, or How are you?
So it's a business that we've run for 5 years now.
When you say we?
Yeah, myself and my partner.
Okay, your partner. Okay.
For 5 years now.
Okay.
So I've been, in the background because of my work, but now I'm jumping in fully to bring my expertise to the business.
Okay, that's good. Actually, people also advise that when you want to go into business, start up a business, it's not always advisable to leave everything and just jump inside the water because of issues that you may not be prepared for. So I think you're doing the right thing. By having run it for a while, you at least know what works and what does not, and then you basically need, can devote more of your time to growing it from one level to the other.
Yes, I agree with you on that front. You don't have to burn the house down overnight. Test the waters, see what's out there, and see if it's the right time. It could be, it's about timing as well, right? Is it the right time for you to move? If you feel like it's the right time, then take the plunge.
So somebody may be out there thinking maybe they also need to jump. How easy or difficult was that decision for you?
Oh my goodness, it was a difficult decision. I sat on it for over a year.
And because we all look forward to that role. It's a beautiful role. It sounds good on paper. I don't know how much you're being paid. So for you to just decide to, on your own volition, leave.
It's something I had been mulling over for quite a while. And again, to the timing, I just felt it was the right time to make the leap, to take the leap.
Leap of faith.
Yeah, it's literally a leap of faith, right? Because it's comfortable, having a job, having the bi-weekly pay, but at some point you just have to take the leap and bet on yourself.
I like that word, bet on yourself. One time I hear bet on yourself, the person I think about is a basketball player called Fred VanVleet. Fred VanVleet used to play for the Raptors. And, he came into the NBA. He didn't come with a regular draft. And he's bet on it. He's from Chicago, Illinois. He played in Raptors. He was one of those who won the championship in 2019. Now he plays for the Rockets, Houston Rockets. And he's doing very well. So betting on yourself is always a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you would 100% regret the actions that you don't take rather than the ones that you took. Even if you take the step and if it happens to be the wrong one, you can retrace your step.
Correct,
exactly, rather than regretting and what could have happened if I had taken the step. So there we are.
That's tough. We have a lot more coming your way in the second half.
Get ready for the grand finale of Brampton's Rising Stars. One stage, 10 contestants, 23rd of August 2025. One winner at the Rose Theatre, Brampton City. The main event is 6 p.m. Red carpet starts at 4:30 p.m. Tickets available at Brampton on Stage, 1 Theatre Lane, Brampton, Ontario, or visit Performing Arts at brampton.ca. This event is powered by GWOW Studios.
Hello everyone, you're welcome back to the second half of this particular episode. We've had the privilege of listening to Shola Oluwole, who's doing a fantastic job in entrepreneurship at different levels. And if you missed it, you probably want to rewind. But now we want to talk about other things.
Yes, for sure.
It looks to me like women advocacy is of interest to you. Is that correct?
100%.
I think it's a big topic in Canada. So let's hear your story and what exactly you've done in that regard.
Yeah, it really is. So I would say that what piqued my interest in that field was the course that I took in the university.
Which of the universities? Because you've been in
So back in Nigeria, Obafemi Awolowo University,
Okay.
Great
I was hoping you would say that.
So I studied economics, and I think it was my second or third year. Shout out to Professor Shola. She was the one that taught us development economics. And so development economics 1 and then 2 in the second semester. And that was where I became aware of the plight of the underrepresented in general.
From economics?
Yes.
Okay.
So from women, young people, and all that. So, and communities. And so it just tugged at my heart and I couldn't shake it off. I was probably a teenager at the time, but it just, it just deposited something in my heart such that I started a book club for my women, like my girlfriends, because I had a big library and I was like, these books are just sitting there. I want women to develop themselves. So I would loan out my books to them, would read, come back and share. And then during like our vacation, summer break, I would organize like a small get together for everybody to come together. Women,
So you already demonstrating leadership without necessarily
exactly without a position, right? So I did that, and then it naturally transitioned when I moved into the Middle East. I saw that a lot of women were trailing spouses, like they followed their husbands to that place because their husband got jobs, and then they just couldn't, for some reason, jumpstart their own careers because the opportunities were not there for women. So I saw that need also for women to come together and also like rebuild their self-confidence, invest in themselves and know things, just share knowledge. So I started an organization called 3Gs International.
Okay.
So which is what morphs into 3G. Okay. So 3Gs International, we would have ourselves together where we talk about businesses like pricing correctly, how to position yourself, spirituality as well. So I ran that for like I think 13, 14 years.
You were in the Middle East for that long?
No, I mean like the organization because it continued even after I moved here.
So it was first to Nigeria to UK?
Yes.
The Middle
the Middle East, yeah. So I always did something for women, whether it was structured or informal. It's been a constant thread through my life. So it was a natural progression. When I got into BDC and I was an account manager, commercial account manager, working with business owners on a day-to-day, 40% of my portfolio were women entrepreneurs, right? And the other were under like maybe people of color, underrepresented. So it's something I'm very passionate about. So when the opportunity came up, for the role of the inclusive entrepreneurship regional manager, it was a natural transition for me. And I'm grateful for my leaders that recognize that in me and also give me the opportunity to function in that role. So it's been a journey.
That's it. And your predecessor also colored?
She was, yes.
She was. But not necessarily black.
She was.
Oh, she was. Okay. Yes. I'm happy to hear that because I imagine that itself is breaking the glass ceiling.
100%.
Where black people representation matters. What has been your experience in that regard?
Yes, so we know in Canada that there's been historically lack of trust between the black community and financial institutions. So that's why people bootstrap. That's why people don't feel comfortable to approach the banks. They're nervous. They don't know if they're going to say the right things or if they're going to be discriminated against. I remember I went to give a presentation as an organization. I think it was it's called ACC, African Caribbean Contractors Economics or something like that. And there was a gentleman, an older gentleman that, after the whole thing was like, I'm so grateful that someone like you is in a financial institution. And then he was sharing his experience when he was younger and he wanted to start his business and how they wouldn't even give him the light of day, like an audience to even see if his business was viable or not. So me being there, I was almost like a bridge, I was bridging that gap. When people saw me and they're like, oh, somebody that looks like me, then they approach me, they're a bit more comfortable, to talk about the challenges they're having or even the needs that they have, right? And I was able to guide them, provide them guidance in whatever way that, could benefit them so that they could take advantage of either the resources that BDC had or even other resources outside of BDC. So representation really does matter. I'm not saying that people should be hired because
no, totally. We don't need it.
Exactly.
I mean, have people with the right brains.
Exactly. You know, you have the qualification, you have the experience. It just makes people from the community a bit more comfortable. And also it signals to the community that the big organizations are actually interested in bridging that gap.
I mean, with people like you, we begin to have good credentials that people have done the work, and maybe your predecessor. I mean, if in your case that you left in your own position is also another testament to the fact that it's a great job, but guess what? I can do more. So when we start having that representation in the private sector, as the case may be, and in politics, because I think that we need to have more of us, the Black community, because Canada is a largely immigrant country and will increasingly be the case. And we can have people who have come in from different countries step up and represent and serve. It will be a great thing.
100%, I totally believe it. Yeah, because Canada is very multicultural.
It is.
So our institutions should reflect that multiculturalism.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
One thing I think personally that Canada can do a better job of is that we do a fantastic job of filtering who comes in through our immigration system.
Yes.
But where I think we can do a better job is ensuring that once people come in, there's some sort of bridging program that allows them to hit the ground running. Because without that support, handholding if you will, people just drop into the trenches. No matter how much money you bring in here, that was my case. You're going to spend it if you don't get the right kind of job. And you don't get the right kind of... So I think that the opportunity, in your case, it's about entrepreneurship, but beyond entrepreneurship, there are professionals that have come in with their skills, with their credentials, but may not necessarily have the opportunity. I've had I don't know if you call it opportunity or privilege to work on the shop floor. And I've met professors, very intelligent people who started with those jobs, but are stuck there. Why? Because of fear of tomorrow.
I think, there are bridging programs, and I'm actually a product of one.
Okay, so we need to talk more about that.
Yes, I went through Access Employment, and I got my first job with BMO through them.
Oh, great.
Right? They really gave me a soft landing, and I would always sing the praises of Access Employment.
Okay.
My husband also went through Access Employment, got his first job.
Same deal.
Yeah.
Okay.
BMO. So no, not BMO. He got a job with Deloitte.
Okay.
So I think it depends on your entry point.
How you come in, who you interact with. Okay.
No, I mean like the kind of immigration status you have. Because a lot of these organizations are for permanent residents.
Okay.
Right. And so if you're a permanent resident, I think a few might maybe accommodate refugees.
Yes.
But a lot of them are being funded and the criteria is the person has to be a permanent resident. I know a lot of people, that have gone through one bridging program or the other.
Okay.
I've recommended Access Employment to many people, and it's accelerated their journey. Yeah, so I think
Thank you very much. I'm sure people will be hearing that, and hopefully, those who don't know, because this is fairly new to me. And that's
there's Access,
Ontario.
there's Costi, there's a few of them. Yeah.
Maybe we should do a webinar where you tell us about ways in which because as we speak. At ANA Global, which is an organization that I lead, we're in the process of hosting a webinar. We held one on AI recently. Now we're hosting one titled Pathways to Immigrating as a Business Entrepreneur to Canada. And so that's one way. But learning about those bridging programs, how you can enter gracefully into the market will be fantastic and a good topic.
As an example, Access Employment, they don't just focus on professionals like IT, financial services connections. So they have different connections like human resources, financial services, IT, and they also have entrepreneurship as well. So people that are entrepreneurs coming into the country can also go. So far you're a PR, or I don't know for sure if they do refugees, but so they have those different programs that you can, and I have contacts there. So
I mean, needless to say, behind the camera, I'll be following that up. So your journey started in Nigeria.
It did.
You went to UK.
Yes.
Middle East.
Yes.
Canada. Where's next?
I don't know, but I'm excited about the next chapter. Either here or abroad, I'm here for it.
Wow. Okay, so you're not ruling out the fact, because I've asked this question about somebody else and the person said, I'm home, but yours is anything can happen.
I mean, this feels like home. But
Yes.
if somebody had asked me some 15 years ago if I was going to be in Canada, I wouldn't have said yes because I didn't know. So I don't know. Exactly, it wasn't in the horizon.
Okay.
But I'm not afraid to move.
That's good because not everybody is willing to start all over again or jump, or some of us like to stay in our comfort zone.
I developed the muscle now.
Okay. So you're happy to move if required.
If required, I mean, if I get an appointment with you and in I don't know, maybe Spain or somewhere, I'm going.
So UN, we have a candidate for you who's coming your way. Well, it's great that we made that bet. That in your case, you made the decision on at least 2 or 3 times to jump into a seemingly unknown world. And,
yes.
Have there been, of the 3, has there been anyone you looked at and said, I probably would have been better off, or have all 3 been steps in the right direction? Is that what you wish maybe you moved too early, or
No, I think they were all meant to be part of my story.
Okay. No regrets.
No regrets. Yeah, I mean, each location has had its own challenges,
Yes.
Like you said, jump starting, having to prove yourself over and over again.
Yeah.
But once you do that, I think it just develops resilience in you, that irrespective of the environment, you can thrive. It also, it helps me to be confident in who I am as well. That it's not about the environment, it's about me. So I could be in Africa, I could be in Europe, I could be in the Middle East, I could be in North America, and I will still excel.
Yes.
So
that's
it's about,
very important.
Yes, it's about the intrinsic value that I have. The skills, the talents, the experience that I've amassed over the years. So it gives me that confidence that wherever I find myself in the desert, I'm going to thrive.
Growing up, that's one thing I liked about Americans. As I saw that there seems to be that inbuilt confidence in the average. I don't know if it's with every American, but the ones I saw, they could, they'll come to Africa and you'll be like, that was that confident, that braggadocio.
But I think Nigerians have it as well.
Yes, Nigerians actually are seen as very assertive and
At least when I was growing up, I was very proud. I mean, like the thing they pumped into us in my primary school, in my secondary school, to be very proud, to have this national pride, to believe in yourself. So, it helps you to just go in that might and, go be who you are. I mean, it's not that you don't have moments of self-doubt or moments where I remember my very first, when I came to Canada, the first 7 months I didn't have a job, and then I got an opportunity. So this was the very first time I applied to BDC. So before coming to Canada, I had done my research because I told you that I had this passion for development. So I was like, does Canada have a development organization, development bank? So I came across BDC and I set my eyes on BDC. So I applied the very first time, and it looked like things were going to pan out. And then the last moment, I didn't hear from them anymore. Then I reached out to one of the people that interviewed me, and then she told me, unfortunately, they went with another organization. I was devastated. I don't think I've been that sad up until that point in a long time. Like, I gave into eating the ice cream, the cookies, everything. I kept crying for days, So you would have such moments. But it's about bouncing back. I went ahead and applied again, and then again. I got on the third try, right? So it's resilience at the end of the day.
And I think anybody watching this should learn that resilience is very important. I tell people that when I was growing up, my parents told me there were 2 things I needed to succeed: fear of God and academic intelligence. And those 2 helped me throughout my time in Nigeria. But when I got here, I realized that resilience and some other things were also equally important. Then I was taught because of academics, and that's why I tell people, in the academic world, failure is dreaded. You want to get A's, you want to get A1, but in the real world, failure is actually a tool for you to learn how it doesn't work, and then bounce back and keep pushing.
It truly is. It truly is, and of course with God on one side as well.
So wishing you more success as you go on. It's been a pleasure having you on.
Thank you.
And I'm sure that we'll hear more positive things about you.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks all. It's been a great one. See you at the next episode. Bye for now.